All right. Well, welcome to our speaker series. I will introduce our guest speakers in a quick second. I would like, though, to start with a land acknowledgement, and that we do respectfully acknowledge that the CDM is located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, in particular the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. And I think we've done land acknowledgements a lot when we start the presentations, but with what's happened with the children-founded residential schools and things like that, it's just bringing this so much more to the forefront, and this is just means so much more. And I can't really say too much more. Being non-Indigenous, I feel very ignorant of so much, and that's just become so true. So this is all I'll say for now, but I'm kind of glad this is becoming a bigger conversation. So what I want to just very quickly is introduce our guest speakers by their titles and their names, and I'm going to get them to introduce themselves with much more detail. So we have Vanessa Jacobsen and Marie Schindler from Stellar Creative Labs. Vanessa is the manager of studio operations. Marie is the manager of HR. Really happy to have you both here and speaking to our students. And I'll have you introduce yourselves in more detail.
Okay, well, I'll go first because Marie's going to take over and talk about Stellar after we do our intros. But first of all, hello, everybody. I'm glad you guys are joining us. We have lots of wealth of knowledge between the two of us. So think hard and lots of questions, because that's the best way for us to share what you need to know. I used to own a toy store a long time ago, so I've always loved fun. I've always loved games, and I think the animation and visual effects and gaming world are all of that, and it's just the funnest place to be. So soon enough, you guys are going to be here. I went on because I worked on a movie called Space Chimps that was done in Burnaby, and it was a lot of fun. I've got some stories I could tell you about that. But they did get a second project, so I ended up going to Vancouver Film School as a project or admin manager for the animation departments, because I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn everything about it. So I did, and I spent over 10 years there, and ended up as head of the animation and visual effects programs. And in fact, I worked with Larry Baffia, for a year or two at some point. So, the connections just keep coming round and round. After I finished up at VFS, where I met thousands of students, so I know what you guys are going through and how hard it is. I was lucky enough to take a little bit of time off, and then worked in a visual effects studio, madness. Again, stories could be told. And then after that, I settled in with Stellar Creative Lab, really good people that own this studio. And I'm so happy to be there to help them, set up with the remote and the COVID lifestyle, and possibly having another studio in Langley. So that sort of sums me up. And now I'll leave it to Marie.
Thank you. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Marie. I didn't expect to actually work in animation, to be honest. When I started my career, it somehow fell into my arms, and I'm really happy about it. It's definitely a very interesting industry. But yeah, I met the owners of Stellar Creative Lab actually at my old job, and then I started with them 4 years ago. So Stellar Creative Lab is actually 4 years old. It's been really fun from the beginning, screwing desks together and putting chairs together. All of that has been a great journey. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. It's funny you mentioned at the end, Marie. That's how my son actually started in the animation industry. He works at Bardell, but before that, he was at Method, screwing desks together and setting up computers.
That's how you start, right? It's like everybody's hands-on, and everybody was like kind of like building desks and everything together. It was really fun, yeah.
It's very true. I've done a lot of that even myself, even if it wasn't necessarily the job at the time to do so.
Exactly. It was just like had to get over with and set up. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I know that you might have some stuff to present. I just wanted to let the cohort know that there's kind of two topics that we're going to get into, and that is Stellar Creative Lab itself, and talking about the studio and talking about the industry. And students may have questions about the studio in particular, but also they're heading into their internships, really, which is their work experience in the fall. And they may have a lot of questions about portfolios and resumes and interviews and all those kind of things. And then also talking about specifically about women in animation as well, and what that can provide to the cohort and how to get involved potentially. So I see those are the two topics, and I think Marie, you're probably going to, am I correct, start talking about Stellar Creative Lab. Do you need to share the screen at all to do anything?
I probably just want to show the demo reel,
Okay.
just to showcase some work that we've done, but that's about it. So why don't we start actually with exactly that?
Okay.
So everybody can see like what Stellar is. We are a 3D animation studio. I'm currently in the studio actually in Yaletown. It's been a very lonely day. There's only one more artist here, but sometimes we have like 5 people here. It's exciting. But yeah, we've been working remotely since COVID started, basically, I think like every other studio in the industry. And one of the biggest parts, what is happening in the industry is right now, like the whole approach of like, what comes out of COVID, meaning the possibility to work remotely or to continue working remotely or like a hybrid model. So I think each studio is facing that approach right now. And I know some studios have opened around the world. So there is, you know, some ideas now. But it's kind of like what students probably want to know as well, like how is that going to look like around the world and in their first jobs. Aside from that, when we started 4 years ago, everyone was in the studio, which was great. And mainly the studio was created by Bert and Hasmi. Bert is more from the pipeline side of things. Hasmi is more from the producer side of things. And I have to say, since we started, they're actually on the floor, meaning sometimes they take on work, they do it, they do reviews. So it's really great to have actually owners involved that work on the project sometimes as well, right? That brings the motivation up, and it's just great to have that. Yeah, since we started, we've done some cool projects. We started with a feature that went away to get rewritten, like it happens. And then we had some TV shows. We did a cooperation, and we did some Baymax shorts with Unity. That was really exciting. And then we did the marketing for Addams Family, because Cinecite couldn't do it. And what else did we do? We did Fancy Nancy. It's a Disney TV show. But we want to focus more on adult, more family-based animation. So it's mainly what we're focusing on right now in terms of projects. And we have currently 2 more projects. One is with Marvel, one is with DreamWorks. So these are the 2 big projects currently in the studio. We are about 112 people right now. It's growing every Monday. So it's really exciting. And I think last summer when the 2 projects started, we were like about 30 people. So it was quite a jump. We're still looking for artists. It has been really busy in the industry, so I'm really sure that all of the students will find a job, which is great. But the industry is so busy right now, and there's so much demand for talent. So that's really been awesome. Yeah, I will share the demo reel, hoping that you will hear the music, maybe not.
No music.
No music, eh?
It's all right. We usually turn them off when we're watching.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is from the feature movie that went away, for example. And this is Addams Family. This is our own IP. Same. Yeah, that's the Baymax shorts. With Mochizilla. So this was Fancy Nancy that I mentioned earlier, and we did season 2. It's on Disney Junior. It's funny because I can hear the music.
You should sing for us then. You should play it.
Yeah.
Nancy.
Yeah, we did 3 shorts of the Baymax Dreams. Yeah.
They look good.
Have any of you guys have any of you seen any of those? If you have, did you enjoy it, or what did you think?
I see. Any show of hands? I see a bunch of show of hands here.
Oh
That's
yeah,
excellent.
that's awesome.
Nice. Is anyone brave enough to put their cameras on? I'd love to see your faces.
Oh yeah, let's see. Let's see how many brave souls we have in the court. Oh, we have some
Yay.
brave souls.
Well, you know why? I mean, eventually we're going to be out of this kind of world, and you know, if I get to see you now, I'll remember your face possibly when I see you somewhere. So it's all about networking and you know, putting your face out there, even if you feel shy. It's a good thing to do because it gives us a chance to talk to you one-on-one like this. It's nice. Nice.
Yeah, I see some. Yeah, so that's Stellar Creative Lab. That's us. Like Vanessa mentioned, she joined us as a studio manager, and we're really lucky to have her. Yeah. So if you...
Do you have any questions about the studio? Because we can talk about WeAnd a bit too. Yeah, Tom, what do you
I
got?
have a question for you. You mentioned that was it the Adams Family? It was your own IP?
No. The Adams Family, we did marketing. What I mentioned was the superhero that you saw. He was like in a blue suit and golden. It's called Golden Age. That's our own IP. We created it. One of our artists here created it, and it's in production with Look Mom Productions in Toronto.
Oh, that's great. And so do you ever look for any kind of internal IP project?
We do. It always depends, right? Because it does get a little bit complicated with the rights. So that's one of the things that each artist has to think about, right? Like once you join the studio and you show it to the studio, it will be yours, but it's always like a case by case, like how do the rights go? But we have 2 projects that we actually supported.
Oh, that's fantastic. And do you see that as kind of something that studios are going to start going towards, or is there just too much? I mean, I know right now, like people are turning away projects because there's so much going on.
There is. That's true. So it really depends on the studio, I have to say. We are still like in this whole boutique feeling. So we do support artists quite well. It does get, when you have like 300, 400 people, it gets a little bit more corporate and a little bit more complicated to go like to the different levels, right? But I don't want to speak for other studios, right? Like, I don't know if they do it. I just know that we do support it. As I mentioned, like Bird and Hasme are really like hands-on people. So I had production managers sending the script to Bird and Hasme. We actually filmed a short here, a live action short in the facility, which was really fun. We did like a night shoot and it was really fun. It was from one of our production managers. So it's really like, we are definitely open to it, but it really also depends on the project. If, if we can sell it to Netflix, for example, if we can pitch it to clients to produce it, right? But yeah.
That's great. So, and then do you handle some of the distribution as well, especially for things like a short film?
Yes, so we're handling some of the distribution. Again, it always depends. We're trying to pitch it always to clients, right, to get like a bigger production out of it. But with that one, we definitely did handle some of the distribution. We did, for example, the collaboration with Lookman Productions, and we did like a session where they were writing the scripts again together to make it like more a TV show or more like a movie. So does go through a lot of changes, right? Some things like that. Yeah.
Are most of you in Vancouver, or are you all over the world? Where are people? Where? Everywhere?
Kind of everywhere, yeah. So most people are getting into Vancouver now, I think, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of us are here.
And when do you
I think most of the court, I
actually
think, is here.
graduating?
We graduate, like we complete, we have completion ceremony in September, and then internships go from September until December, which is when we graduate officially.
Excellent. That's so exciting. You guys, the time, this is like the best time ever to be joining this industry, right? There's so much content being created, and it's just been a sort of a, even though COVID is a terrible thing, a lot of it has come out really, really good for this industry, especially the idea of moving to a hybrid type studio setting, because they talk, you know, some artists used to always work at home, and then they got everybody into the studios. And now this forced everybody to do it, and quickly, and it's working really well. Some people love it, and some people love to, you know, the idea of being partly in the studio, and some people want to come back because, you know, the interaction and stuff. So there's a lot of things around remote work that is new for your group that other people didn't have to deal with. So you're really a part of a unique situation. So good for you guys.
Where's everybody from? I know Vanessa asked already, but where are you guys located right now? Just like in general with the time zones.
I'm in the same time zone, but I'm in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, nice. I've been there. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Are you looking into coming to Vancouver?
Yes, it is my fondest dream. I hope to be there soon.
You sure? It's raining a lot here. Just saying.
Oh, well, from Phoenix, that sounds pretty good.
It's true.
Marie, it's sunny here every day.
Right. like probably 3 months out of 12. No, it's true. Vancouver is beautiful. It's beautiful, definitely. I came for the mountains, not for the weather, but definitely for the mountains. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Are you expecting people to come back full time then into the studio? You mentioned something about opening up a new studio in Langley. So are you going to kind of keep kind of a hybrid or stay at home if you prefer?
So we are going with a hybrid model for sure. How that looks like, we don't know yet. We have currently employees in Brazil. We have employees in Kelowna. So obviously we don't expect them to come here to Vancouver. So that's why we definitely look into a hybrid model. But again, how it looks like is not, it may be like 2 to 3 days in the studio, the rest working from home. Some jobs may be essential to work from the studio, such as like IT or things like that. But yeah, we're not 100% sure yet how the hybrid model looks like. But definitely, like Vanessa said, like we will open potentially a studio in Langley. Yeah, so we can kind of like divide it. The reason is also why we open in Langley, because truth be told, Vancouver has the living prices are in downtown quite high. So a lot of families moved outside of Vancouver, and we had people traveling like an hour or an hour and a half to commute into downtown Vancouver, which we want to make it easier for them and go to Langley. Yeah.
Any questions before we talk about WIA, and then we can just like question away and talk away? Sharon, yeah.
I just had a question about how you would characterize jobs in the industry. Are they mostly sort of like permanent positions, the kind that come with benefits, or do you see that a lot of people freelance and do consulting?
I would say it depends on your job. It depends really on which position you're doing. Art, for example, is more freelance, for sure. the art department, we start mostly with freelancers, and then they become sometimes full-time, or they have like 4 free different freelance jobs, right? For example, pipeline would be definitely a permanent position. Rigging also permanent. With permanent, there's also a distinction between contract-based, right? Like the industry is very
Oh, she's cutting out.
one project for the length of the contract, and it might not be extended. Did I freeze?
A little bit,
I did freeze.
but you're not now.
Okay, where did I stop? Or did everything went through?
Between
think
the
most
beginning and the
people got
end, I think. I think between the beginning and the end, it stopped.
Ah, okay. Did everyone get the essence of what I was talking about, or should I repeat it?
Well, I
Okay.
kind of got the idea that it depends
Okay.
on the type of position, and that some jobs can move from freelance to permanent.
Okay, yeah, I just got Tom just said like I stopped at permanent. So what I added there was also like that contracts are usually project based, meaning you will get like a contract for the length of the project, and then it might not be extended, right? That's the other part, talking about positions and the length of contracts. Yeah. We also have, I don't know if there's any software developers or anybody interested in software engineer or pipeline positions. We are also developing our own software currently, and we got funding from the Canada Media Fund for that. It is quite an exciting project, which I can't share too much about it because it's still in development, but it's something definitely for the animation and visual effects industry, which is more tailored for the industry. And yeah, it's been doing great. We're working on a prototype. So with that, we kind of created like a new company called Stellar Code Lab, just for anybody who's interested. Yeah.
Any other questions? I promised I wasn't going to say much. See?
I know. I me neither. I'm going to leave it up to them.
I have a quick question. So
Yes.
first of all, I want to thank you for being here. And I want to ask you, if I ask you to tell only one thing that, in your opinion, would help any animators or 3D artists' resume stand out and kind of attracts your attention, what would you say?
Okay, I have a funny answer to that. If you're an animator, put a good music to your demo reel. It makes a big difference. It's such a turn off, really, if the music is not fitting to the demo reel.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, usually if I watch a demo reel, I tend to turn the music off. So that's kind of the opposite of what Marie is saying. But I think it has to be so simple to find the link, and you have to put your best work. You know, it depends on what format you use, but you want to showcase your best work in the first 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And, you know, make it very clear what the work you did. And then we'll go from there. You can always have links to other things if you have other skills. You know, you can have a link on your page to those as well, but just make sure that we can look at it quickly.
Yeah, and no errors. Like we don't exactly like what Vanessa, just to add to that, like make sure that the link that you're sending us to your demo reel works. That's one of I think the biggest parts.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I do actually just want to stress the one point that was made, though, is it's not about quantity. It's about quality.
Oh, yes, very
Please,
true.
like, I have every once in a while I've had a student that's just giving me this large demo reel and has everything on it, and they were told by, you know, wherever they were before, it's good to show your progression. No one cares about the progression. They care about what you can do now and how good you are right now, right?
Yeah,
Exactly. And if it's a visual effects reel, make it very clear what you did in the shot you're showing, and then show the breakdowns for modeling. You want to show the breakdowns really clearly. We're almost more interested in the breakdown to see how you went through the process to get to that final shot. So that's, we can sort of see how you worked, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, and we actually get rarely demo reels with a good breakdown, especially in lighting and comp. It's very essential because we don't know what you actually did in that shot, right? So it's really, really important to have those breakdowns.
Yeah.
Sure.
So are you saying that if you worked with a lot of people on a shot to make sure that you break down what your part of the shot was, or that you should just do some how-to on how it was done to show your process?
I would prefer, like, and maybe for the rest, I speak for the rest of the industry, probably exactly what you said in the first part is like break down what you did in that shot, and that's about it.
Yep. Show the full shot first so we see it, and then break down and tell us what you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Vanessa, you want to kick off WIA?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about WIA, and in the meantime, try to think of some more questions, because really you're lucky to have Marie and me here, and we know stuff. So ask us. Okay, so let me talk about WIA. Has anyone, first of all, ever heard of WIA?
Yep, I'm actually part of it.
Oh, yay! Excellent. What
Yeah.
are you doing with them?
I was part of their fall mentorship program, and I actually have WIA a lot to thank for landing my first studio gig. So
Excellent.
would love to connect with the Vancouver chapter.
Oh, that's so great. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'd love to hear that. So let's just talk. I have to share my screen first. Here we go, screen 2. Look at me go. Can you guys see that now? Okay. So currently, Barbara and I are the co-chairs for the educational committee. Maybe one day Marie will be in one of these positions. I don't know. A lot of people know Barbara Dawson. She's been in the industry for, I'd say, 35 years or something. Everybody knows her. She's one of those people that if you ever had crossed paths with her, you're lucky, and she knows everything, and she's worked at every studio and has done all kinds of jobs. She went down to ILM. She's worked with Pixar, everybody, any studio really that you bring up, she's worked with them. She was lucky enough to go off to Penticton, but now she's working full-time for WildBrain as the director of artist management. So she's helping them to get that sorted, because they're over 800 people now, and they didn't really have an artist management department. So it's a good gig for her, and she's having fun. So that's Barb, and she couldn't join us today, which is fine. She's too busy. And then there's me, which I've told you a little bit about, so we don't need to talk about that again. But yeah, I do. I have 2 kids, 2 dogs, 2 horses. So that's kind of fun. Fun fact, All right, let's continue on here. So Women in Animation, their mission is really, and again, they're currently looking at changing the name, because it's not just about women, it's about diversity, right? There are so many different, beyond just the women that are lacking in our industry. And the more diverse our industry can get, the better the work's going to be. There's no doubt about it. So they are trying to make sure that we, it used to be it's a guy's world, and it was really, especially in visual effects. It's a little better in animation, and it is changing. There's no doubt about it, but it's taking time. And the more women we get into senior roles, the sooner that's going to happen. They want to get, the goal is by 2025 to have half and half in terms of just that stat. Now, I think they're going to update these to change this a little bit in terms of diversity. But you can see that in creative roles in animation, producers, directors, there's only about 10%. And then art design, 20, animation, 23. So there's a long way to go. Having said that, it is changing. Interestingly enough, on the production side, in terms of producers and PMs and coordinators, there's a lot of women there because they get stuff done. They're good at that. So again, we want to focus on the artistic roles. I think the name is also a bit misleading because it's way more than animation. That's just really an umbrella word for covering all our digital industry. So it's animation, television, you know, gaming, VR, AR, you name it. So it's really about everything digital and the creative digital, especially around the world. They're out of LA originally, but they have chapters all over. What else about that? Yeah, I think I've covered the rest there. I like this little chart because what we need to get ahead and create all this is we need to empower people, give them the opportunity and the confidence. Those are three such important things to get spread out. And so that's what the mission of WIA is, to work on those and create those opportunities. And we're doing a lot of good things. Some of our tools, open. Okay, yeah. So lots of things for students. We have the scholarship mentoring. We have scholarships, we have mentoring, and we have the ACE program. So I think it was Ada. Is that your name, Ada?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ada had mentioned the mentoring program. Do you want to quickly tell us how it went for you?
Yeah, it was really great. So I applied last fall and I got accepted into Mark and Mike Davis program. And it's basically a story-based mentorship program where we learn about pitching shows and things like that. And, you know, throughout the entire fall semester, we met up 2 times a month and we just talked about, you know, developing pitches and, you know, strengthening your personal voice in animation and in storytelling. So that really helped me a lot to build the confidence because I wasn't always in animation. I was actually trying to transition from banking to animation. And through the mentorship program, I just got so much guidance from my mentors.
Oh, thank you. That's exactly it. It's about building the confidence because you need it. You need to be your own best support person. You need to go out there and sell yourself, and it's hard to do because you're art. You know, a lot of us are artists, and we think with we're visual and things like that. But you still need to be able to do that. And the mentorship will cover all different areas. So you know, whether you want to learn certain kinds of skills or whatever it might be, there's different options that they can help with. I, Barb, and others have also done portfolio reviews. So, you know, we can have a look just to see what things a couple tips we can give you to make some stuff better. ACE, I don't even remember what it stands for, but Roseanne's a wonderful person who heads up ACE program. And what they did last year, I think was the first year, they got 5 different women who wanted to up their game and try something else. It was a brand new project. So they have a writer, a director, a producer, sound, and whatever I'm missing. And all 5 of them were mentored and got to do a whole project over the year. And from when they started to where they are now, the level of confidence and the quality of the project they created is just dumb good. So if you can go look on the website or find the work, you'd be amazed. And they got tutoring on everything, not from it, you know, in terms of the actual work, but in terms of soft skills, you know, how the industry works, what it means to be in senior roles. So it was a really incredible opportunity. You can apply every year. So, you know, it's open to everybody, and then they'll filter through, and, you know, they have access to all kinds of people that can help them do that. So a lot of cool stuff there. And educational programs. So workshops, networking events, you know, I mean, COVID's been a bit strange, but they've still had them. And soon enough, we're going to be back together doing those, you know, doing these sorts of things where you can learn. And we've been up to Kelowna to talk about different things. Some of the most popular workshop has been the soft skill workshops, where we just taught, you know, how to gain your confidence, how to ask for a raise, you know, how do you deal with someone you work with that, you know, is getting more than you and they shouldn't, and all that kinds of things that you need to hear about and how to handle. And those soft skills are really important, and they go a long way. It's all about networking. There, see, networking. It's true. Do you know that DigiVC just did a giant study, and 25% of all hires are informal, which means they're through people they know. 25%. So keep that in mind. LinkedIn is like 8 or something, like, you know. And then the next biggest category is 18% are students right out of school. So that's your, you know, put together your networking and all that stuff. And that's the way to get out. Studio tours, we'd love to have you as soon as we can in the studio at Stellar. So I don't think it'll be too long where we'll be able to do that. So anyway, all those sorts of things. We've had informal networking events, you know, have a drink in a bar or, you know, nibblies, and maybe someone gave a little talk. Again, lots of things like that are going on. Behind the scenes, we are doing tons of stuff, research, trying to work out, you know, ways to improve the whole industry and how to get out there and spread the word. They have a job board, so the WIA job board. That reminds me, Marie, I should probably list a couple jobs there. Advocacy, they work with the government. They're doing everything to try and improve work conditions, you know, for women, for childcare, permits, work permits, all that sort of thing. So they do a lot of that. And I don't know what weekly digest means. I think maybe that means their weekly newsletters possibly that come out. Sorry, I don't know that. Anyway, students, that's it. You're right. You are our future, and we're happy to have you. This, I'm going to just go really quickly over, and David, I can send it to you, but there's so many ways for WIA to be involved with a school. So I'm not here to sell WIA to you, but there are, you know, all kinds of stuff that we can come and do for you. You just ask and I'll come, right? You don't need to be a member necessarily. Some of them maybe, like now we have to, you have to kind of be a member to get the portfolio review, but because there's so many people that asked, but a lot of things we can come and just help out with. We're happy to do those sorts of things. It's $25, and I think that's American for students. So if you're thinking of joining WIA, do it before you finish school. Save you a few bucks. And yeah, that's it. So kept it short. The board of WIA in Vancouver are all heads of studios and bigwigs. And so there's a lot of opportunities to meet these people. You know, Michelle, who runs Sony, she's not on the board. She's still an advisor on the board, but you know, you have access to some pretty cool people. How's that? Is that all right, David? Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm trying to stay on mute, but that's excellent. And please send me the list of workshops as well, and also any open positions, because I will post it. We have a Slack channel we have for students for open positions that may be coming up, and letting us know, knowing that the time frame for them for full-time positions are about mid-August is the earliest when they're done projects 3. And then, you know, the internship course starts in the fall, but the internship course is them finding professional work experience, which can be freelance, contract, permanent, full-time, anything like that is available or is allowable, as long as in digital media industry. They do have milestone reports they'll have to do for the internship course, but that is, you know, there are 4 milestone reports that are about their experiences that they have. Everything, you know, obviously with NDAs being, you know, understood, so it's nothing that's written in those reports that is problematic in any way. So we can talk about that more another time too if you want. So
yeah, we should probably follow up with that.
Mm-hmm. I've made a bunch of notes, so this is great.
Yeah, by fall we might have a new project, so it might line up potentially perfect. Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Now I really do want to mute myself and have the students ask questions.
Yeah, let's just sit here in silence if no one asks a question.
Yeah, I guess we could do that. So, or we can break out into another room if they don't.
Which is funny. Oh,
quick question for you. Do you find that that older women or second or third phase career people have good opportunity in the industry? And as a follow-up to that, what would be your advice for positioning yourself if you were coming into it later in your career?
I'll start. That's a great question. You'll start the same spot as if you were 20. So, you know, just because you're older doesn't mean you're going to get, you know, that jump necessarily. We do appreciate the maturity, and it will be based on the work, but it tends to start, and Marie will follow up, I'm sure, with, you know, junior levels until you get a little more experience. And then depending on your skills and your expertise and your maturity, then you could move up even quicker, possibly.
Yeah. I'll add on that quickly. Vanessa's completely right about that. Like, it doesn't really matter how old you are, where you're coming from, which experience. Everybody starts from the same level. Basically, the other part is also like, what we actually look at is your demo reel and your portfolio, essentially. Who is behind that portfolio or demo reel? We don't necessarily look at that. If you're great and you do great work, that's the most important part.
Yeah. And I think on the other side, if you're young and you don't have any job experience, or you just have a little bit and it's at a random job that has nothing to do with our industry, that's fine. We want to know that you've actually had a job and that you're able to keep a job. And so don't worry that it's not related to our industry. It's important to have it on there.
Yeah, I have a question. So just really following up with the CG industry, because I have a question for Stellar Code Lab. So because I'm really interested in how to bring the technology and art together. So what kind of skill sets you're looking for? So for the kind of the software engineer, like right out of school, do we need to have a CG industry experience to work as a software engineer?
It would be great. We do have a software engineer who's not from the industry, completely different industry. I think he worked in real estate before, but he was just interested and he did well in the interview, right? Like, for example, what we're currently looking is actually a tester of the code. So kind of like a quality tester. I can tell you, for example, because we are working with Canada Media Fund, there is definitely, and that's also related to VIA, there's definitely a quota, meaning there's a quota of how many women and how many men are in the project. And it has to be 40% women, 60% men. So that's a requirement. So by that being said, yeah, like basically skill set, I would say definitely right now we're looking for a quality tester. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to bring animation or visual effects experience because we're just starting the Stellar Code Lab. Right now it's a prototype, so it will get into more development soon after fall. But I can definitely, like Vanessa and I, we will share any job descriptions that we have for sure.
Great, thanks so much.
You're welcome. And then from that, also saying that, it's always like a nice jump to go to pipeline if you're interested in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There are 2 messages.
Yeah, I think I answered it.
Tom is asking, I know that women in film and television in Vancouver encourages men to join. Does VIA encourage men or is it strictly for women? Oh yeah, you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're all in this together. So yeah, the more the merrier.
Yeah, I think I also attended a lot of VIA events and there was like super diverse. Like it was really also like the events that VIA brought together. Like I remember one was, and I really enjoyed that one with, and I forgot her name right now. She was at Disney. You remember, Vanessa? I think you.
Is it the unconscious bias talk?
No, it was the one where I actually bought the book from her, the Disney drawing.
Oh, yeah.
She was an older. Yeah, that was an amazing talk. Like, yeah, I forgot her name now. Maybe you remember. She's getting the book. I have the book here too. Yeah, but VIA has really great events, I have to say. And that was even before I knew Vanessa. Yeah. She's getting the book. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, in general, I know the whole recruiting has changed a lot since COVID, but in the past, it was usually like recruiting booths and I could not stop talking because people came up all the time. So please ask questions. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah. Ink and Paint. Amazing book.
Yeah. Mindy Johnson.
Mindy Johnson, yeah.
And she brought, Larry, do you remember? She brought an animator with her. Oh, we went out for scotch with her. She was so cool. She was 75 or 80. I can't remember.
Yeah, she was so funny during this.
Yeah, she was. The stories she told were great.
Yeah.
Jane Bear. That's the animator. There's a lot of history in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you find are some of the benefits for working with a more of a boutique agency as compared to like, you know, some of the other big ones that are in Vancouver?
More growth, more flexibility for sure. So one of, like, I get more into detail is, for example, if you come with skills as an animator with rigging and animation, and there's a position or we need help in rigging, and you're like, hey, I'm interested, let me try. That is faster and more flexible in that sense than in a bigger studio, because in a bigger studio you go through like, you know, 5 reviews before somebody might decide that you actually could do the job. So there's definitely more flexibility if you have a more diverse skill set. We also love to test that out, right? Like we actually love to challenge people with that. Being in a studio means sometimes it's also sometimes more risk, because there might not be a next project. Where you have other studios, there might be the project lined up. But like I said, like the growth opportunity is definitely there. Using your experience more, definitely. And having more decisions on the projects as well. Like our owners, they actually hold senior management meetings where the senior management, they actually ask us, do you think we can do this project? Do you think we can take that on? And being included in such decision making, I don't think that's very common in bigger studios. Yeah, and also like actually knowing the owners and knowing each other is worth a lot, I think. So I really enjoy being in a smaller studio. That's just my personality. Like I tried big corporations and I suffered a little bit from it takes me like probably a month to get an approval on some things, where it's here like, you know, you can just call and say like, okay, what are we doing? What's happening? So yeah. Yeah. Bigger studios might have more resources, right? That's to add on that as well, right? In a smaller studio, we know you, we know exactly your skill set, we know exactly what you're doing. Where in bigger studios, you can disappear a little bit, right? But in smaller studios, we know and we see you. So that's also another part that is, I think, really great. Yeah. In general, what's everybody applying for in the internships? Like animation, lighting, surfacing. What's here? What talent is here?
Personally,
Can you
want
give
to
me
go
some advice?
Go ahead, Vincent.
Sorry, now you can go first. All right. Can you give me some advice for like environmental or matte painting artists?
It depends on the project, to be honest. So basically, just do you, to be honest. Do your style, be authentic with your style. And that's all I can tell you. And you might fit to some projects and you might not fit to every project, but that's okay.
All right.
I think it's important to really know where you're applying and what style you like. I mean, you guys probably have a little more, you know, choice now than you would possibly. So, you know, if it suits what the kind of work you like, maybe that will reflect and they'll be happy to have you. Not to say you shouldn't go outside your, you know, norms, because they're going to be able to see if you have talent or not. But, you know, if you're passionate about a certain style, go for it. Sorry, Al, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to apply as a 3D artist. Yeah, I'm working on my demo reel right now. Yeah. I think it's gonna be finished in like 2 or 3 weeks. It will be ready. Yeah.
Cool. Well, feel free to send it along. We can have a look for you.
Yeah, sure. And thank you so much in advance.
I'm applying as a UX designer, so I don't know how like applicable that is to animation, or if there's any space for that. But yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
there
What?
is.
Okay.
In our code lab, actually.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Cool. Good to know.
Actually, yeah, we actually need help there. So yes,
Really?
please.
Cool.
We're just revamping our website, so it's okay now. It's good, but it's going to be really good soon. So keep an eye on there.
Nice.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Vanessa's aiming high.
High expectations.
Very high expectations. It's okay. Yeah, like yeah, I can tell you, for example, like the other part where it was asked like the benefits of working in a smaller studio. Like I mean, I'm HR manager, but honestly, I'm doing so much more, and it's actually fun. Like I worked on the website, I helped with IT, I went through the TPN assessment, which is the Trusted Partner Network assessment from the Movie Corporation, which is kind of like a security assessment. So that's another thing, right? Like in a smaller studio, you might have the ability to shape your position a little bit more than staying in a rigid job description.
Yeah, that's true. And with the bigger studios, if you're not quite there, PA jobs are amazing. Like jobs where you come in as a production assistant and you just do whatever needs doing. Like you get the coffee, you go get someone at the airport, like whatever, it's going to be. Just do all that, because in between you're around all the artists. You can work, stay after and learn and just become part of the culture there. So there's different ways to get into a studio than just that first gig as an artist.
By the way, we love our Halloween partying as a recruiting party. It's great. So when COVID is over, come and join. One of the biggest and funniest factors is like, once you drink a little bit more, we know. We know the real you. Yeah.
Should we print our work samples and bring them to show you?
Sorry?
Yeah, not to the party.
While they're vulnerable.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So, like Larry knows all about Spark. There's all these events that attending every single event that they do. So there's Spark, and then there's SIGGRAPH that happens. Larry's a huge part of that digitally right now. And there's all different kinds of events. Just join clubs, join blogs, join, online other artists, show them your work. Like just show people your stuff and show up at all these events, and we're going to, people start to know you. And I know it's different now with remote. But there is still many ways to just like you're doing here, just look at there and what you can attend and be there.
I think there's also the Lightbox Expo for the artists here, like definitely the BG painters or matte painters or character artists, right? I think it is online this year again. So definitely check
and volunteer. Yeah, do some volunteering. That's another good way to get in. And then you've got David and Larry here. Ask them a million questions before you leave. They know everything, right?
So one question came up, like that I was actually expecting is the permit situation, because some of you said basically you want to come to Vancouver, but I heard one of you is out of Phoenix, right? Definitely the visa and permit situation is a big point, no?
The good thing about the master's program is they're eligible for a postgraduate work permit.
I figured, but I was like
Years out
waiting. Nobody's asking about it, hey?
Yeah. Maybe they just thought that they already knew the answer, or they
Okay.
forgot there. But that really does help this cohort, right? Especially when
Yeah.
they're coming
Huge.
international.
Yeah, and the good thing about it, and I don't know if that has been shared with you, if you actually apply for the postgraduate permit, you can start working immediately, even though it's just an applied status, so you can start working.
Yeah, and the good thing is through the internship program, they get the co-op work permit, which allows them to work full time. And then right when they finish that, they then apply for the postgraduate and
Yeah.
immediately can continue. So there's no break
Exactly.
in time, which is great.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the biggest parts of we actually like. Yeah, as employers. Yeah, definitely.
Now we have 5 more minutes, and what I want to say is you were talking about you can meet in workshops and you can talk to people at different events, but this is the best time to ask questions, because at these events you're approached by so many different people. The time you have to talk to someone is very short, so I'm not going to say anything more. Again, 5 more minutes, Cord. Ask away. This is your opportunity.
No.
It's 7 o'clock. We're hungry.
Sorry, maybe I'm just having a not very kind of silly question to ask. So I probably can introduce a bit about my background. It's like I'm trying to apply for some junior game designer job. And I know sometimes game designer probably is a position that's kind of hard to find, like an entry job in the industry. But I also heard some kind of opinion says like you can actually, like, from May to July is probably the best months to apply for some game designer job or other job in the game industry, because after a few months, like in the end of the year, all game like companies are rushing for their projects and try to publish their new projects. So they have no time to hire a new person or assign them some jobs to give them some opportunities to work. So just wondering if that is like a myth or actually kind of true.
I don't know enough about the gaming schedule. Do you, Marie?
No, to be honest, I was just gonna say the same thing. I don't know about that. I mean, there are a lot of myths in the industry, I think,
Yeah.
but honestly, projects come and go, and when they start and when they don't start, I don't think that there's much power that we have as employer. There is a little bit of power for sure, but they start when they start, right? Like there's a lot of times like the whole contract negotiations going back and forth, and we know it's coming, and it can be delayed. But I would say it's probably a myth.
Yeah, you know what, Len? Maybe we could take that offline because. Oh, Larry, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm thinking more that it's a myth as well. I mean, it used to be, even with animation studios, they would want to try and time their releases for the summer crowd or the holiday crowd and things like that. But now that there's so many different outlets, whether it's streaming video or things in theaters, content is constantly being released, and I'd have to say the same thing's happening. If you look, even on say SideQuest with all of the VR games and things like that, they're constantly being released now. Probably some of the bigger titles, the AAA titles for the Xbox and things like that, they're probably still on the old school schedule of appealing to everybody rushing out to the market for the holiday purchases and things like that. But the smaller indies and all, they want to get it out there when they can.
Yeah, Larry's correct. The one thing that I know that in animation, though, I mean, there were some things that were very seasonal. I mean, when you're doing episodic series and you're looking at deliveries for episodic, it happens a certain time. Pitch season happens at a certain time. So how would that translate to animation? Are there periods when you're hiring more than others?
There was in the past, but I think what happened, especially this year with COVID, there's so much work, there's so much demand, it's just all over the place. And because there's so much work, it doesn't really matter. Like everything starts at different times. Like when I talk to friends in the industry, they all start like, oh, I start then. So it's like throughout the whole year, honestly. There is always like a little bit of a pitch season, but that doesn't really translate sometimes to when it starts.
Yeah. Tom asked, are there any particular roles that are always more in demand?
Pipeline.
If you're a rigging artist, you'll probably always be in demand.
Yes, rigging and pipeline for sure.
Yeah, those tend to be way up there.
The roles that are too many, I can tell you that is animation. Definitely. We have a lot of animators in the industry.
I have a question. Oh, Sarah has that or?
Oh, I was just going to say, do you mean specifically 3D animators, or does this include like broadcast animators and other types?
3D animators for us.
Yeah, and we're just talking about Stellar currently. There is a lot of animators applying, but there's thousands of jobs for animators at the big, like at Wild Brain and things like that. So
yeah,
to worry.
Yeah, it's just like from the attention that each job posting gets, it's like animation, like 3D animators gets the most attention, meaning like the most applicants, always.
So I have a question. What's the best way to connect with you related to the Stellar Code Lab? Because I noticed that there's no listing on the Creative Lab career page.
For the Code Lab, that's correct. So the easiest would be just search me on LinkedIn.
Okay, cool.
Connect with me on LinkedIn and say that we talked today and regarding this position for Stellar Code Lab. And then I have your resume immediately.
Yeah, all of you should pay a lot of attention to your LinkedIn account and link up with us. Every one of you should try to do that. It is one of the main places that we look. Besides, all the networking and personal ways that we reach out to people, but LinkedIn is the big one, I think. Marie?
Yes, definitely. We also headhunt on LinkedIn. So if you have your demo reel on LinkedIn as well, that's the best situation ever for us.
Great, thanks so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, like feel free to connect, like we said, on LinkedIn, right? And then apply, and good luck for the future.
Thank you so much to both of you. And this is a great opportunity for our students. Make sure you definitely check in with them on LinkedIn. Get that info out there.
Yeah, it's really nice to see some of you and meet all of you. And we'll talk some more, David and Larry. We always stay in touch, I hope. And that's it.
Yeah, we want you to come and visit when we can open up the campus again.
As soon as we can, Marie, we're going on tour.
Love it.
Sounds good.
Let's do a road trip.
Yeah.
We are.
And we can come over to where you are too and have a tour there too, which would be great.
Yeah, that would be spectacular.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It's the old Sony was here before. I don't know if you've ever been here. Yeah, it was the old Sony building.
Nice.
Yeah. Really fancy brick walls and all of the nice stuff in Yaletown.
Cool.
Vanessa, Marie, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. We'll be in touch. Like I said, if you can give me that information about the jobs and things like that, I can send you a follow-up email as a reminder too. Thank you so very much. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Questions.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a good night.
Cohort. Thank you. Good night.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Josh.
Good night.